So I was benching with 42 kilogram dumbbells over my head, and I couldn't give it 100% of what I had that day because I was scared. I was scared that I was going to drop the dumbbells on my head because I couldn't. What's up folks, it's Raynaud from Brussels. Welcome to another video. Today we're talking about why sometimes my fingers and sometimes my entire hand become completely yellow and lifeless when I'm at the gym. It's actually called Raynaud's disease and it's linked to my testosterone replacement therapy, and it's actually really freaking annoying. Alright, let's get to it. So Raynaud's disease is a condition where arteries supplying blood flow to your extremities like your fingers or your toes are constricting excessively when exposed to the cold. Your blood flow is restricted to those extremities, and in the first stages they will appear yellow. In later stages your entire hand can become completely numb, and it can even be black or blue on the extremities because blood flow and oxygen is being restricted to those parts. Raynaud's can be the result of an underlying disease, but like in my case, it can also come on its own, out of nowhere, without any explanation. So for me, it starts when I'm in the cold with the tip of my fingers. Usually it's the one finger that has been injured in the gym that will turn yellow, and then it moves more and more to the rest of my hand. This can happen as quickly as in 3 minutes. Like sometimes in the winter I will have a delivery guy knock on the door, and by the time I go outside, get my package and come back up behind my keyboard, my fingers are starting to be yellow. And when it turns yellow, I'm actually losing sensation in that body part because there isn't enough blood flow and I can't feel anymore. It creeps in slowly in the tip of my fingers, but after like half an hour it can take my entire fingers or my entire hand, and it's really annoying because I completely lose sensation. They feel cold and numb and they become a bit useless because without any feeling it's quite hard to do daily activities like holding your phone or typing on the keyboard. The only thing I feel is this feeling of tingling sensations in my fingers and pain, of course. After a while, if I stay in the cold, that's where it gets quite scary because no longer will I feel anything in my finger, but I will also be unable to move them. And I had a bit of a problem this year because I went on a trip to Norway and I was out on a hike, and after a couple of hours my girlfriend literally had to sacrifice some of her body parts because I could no longer feel my fingers, and I also couldn't move my fingers anymore. So there I was in the middle of nowhere, climbing a mountain in Norway, one hand on my Johnson, the other hand on my girlfriend's body, just to reheat my fingers so I could eat my freaking sandwich because I couldn't move my fingers anymore. I don't even have to be in the freaking cold for this to happen. Like, I live in Belgium, in Brussels more specifically, and it never really gets really cold out here in the winter. Yet sometimes, even if I go outside and it's 10 degrees Celsius, I will quickly lose sensation in my fingers. Even when I'm doing the groceries, it can be quite annoying. I'm going to a store where they have these big fridges where you're going in entirely, and a lot of the dairy products and so on, they're all in that category. And after a while, people start asking me what's actually wrong with me because I look like I have cancer or some disease or something, because I'm starting to look like a Simpson at my hand level, you know. Gloves hardly delay this process for like 5 to 10 minutes, but once I'm in the cold and they start getting yellow, gloves don't help at all anymore. Now in daily life I try to not think about it too much. It's just there, I deal with it. It sucks, but you know, there are worse things in life than getting a bit of yellow fingers. There is no cure, by the way, or no treatment for this other than keeping your hands and feet hot. But when it happens in the gym, it really pisses me off. Like the other day, I wanted to hit a PB on the bench press with the dumbbells. I arrived by car. Surprisingly that day it was quite cold for Belgium. It was minus 7 degrees Celsius, and just by the time I had to cross the parking, get out of my car, get in the gym, I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. So I took a pre-workout, I warmed up for like 20-25 minutes, and then I hit the bench press. So I was benching with 42 kilogram dumbbells over my head, and I couldn't give it 100% of what I had that day because I was scared. I was scared that I was going to drop the dumbbells on my head because I couldn't feel my fingers anymore, and so I couldn't feel how hard I was gripping the dumbbell, and so I was afraid I was gonna drop it on my head and actually die. It's only once I was on my second or third exercise I started to fully recover my fingers and actually feel again. So when it happens in the gym, and it happens quite often in winter, it's really annoying. It also happens when I'm driving my car, and it can be as short as after 5 minutes in the cold. I really have to be careful also when I reheat my fingers. I've burned myself a couple of times because I was putting my fingers under hot running water and I didn't feel how hot the water was because I have no sensation whatsoever in my fingertips. The actual worst part regarding pain is when you are reheating your fingers and gaining sensation back. It happened to me not so long ago. I spent the entire evening outside and my hands were completely white. When I got home, I put my hands under running hot water for like 15 minutes, and afterwards my hands were completely like red. I've never seen my hands that red, and the pain, it's like somebody is stabbing you everywhere with needles in your fingers. That pain was really bad. The weird thing is the symptoms of Raynaud's disease only started happening in my body once I was on hormonal replacement therapy at 25 years old. Before that, I could literally go outside for hours, an entire evening, no problem whatsoever, no gloves, I wouldn't even feel the cold, and I would never lose sensation in my hands. Now, I had severe hypogonadism before I was 25 years old and hopped on HRT. Now I'm on TRT and thyroid medication, and weirdly enough this yellow finger shit only started happening once I was on hormonal replacement therapy, and my endocrinologist and the doctors I've seen don't have any clue as to why this is happening. The second weird thing is that for gym purposes I'm taking a lot of nitric oxide boosters. Like this thing will help for blood flow and to get a good pump in the gym. We're talking about citrulline, arginine, Cialis. It helps a lot in the gym to get a pump, and normally your blood is supposed to flow better. Well, the more of these products I've taken, the worse it's actually getting. The thing is, there isn't a lot of medical research as to the cause of this problem, and up to this day I still haven't found an answer to it. A definitive answer, because year after year it's actually getting worse. It used to be I could handle the cold for like an hour before it happened. Now it can sometimes be after 5 minutes. So it would appear the only solution to this problem is to grab your girlfriend's ass very firmly when you're outside in the cold. Anyway, what do you guys think? What would you guys do in the gym? You're in there, you're in the shape of your life, you took a pre-workout, you ate well, you're ready to hit that previous record that you wanted, but you can't feel your freaking fingers anymore and you're afraid the weight is gonna drop on your head. Let me know in the comments, guys. Leave me a comment to support my channel. Subscribe to Uranus. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Uranus out.